Let's have a conversation. What's going on, everybody? Let's have a conversation. So, what is our topic today? The dating rules and how much is too much. So, there's a few things that I have seen circulating online recently. Before I even start, I want to, well, first of all, I'm usually on camera, but I had some dental work done today, and ooh, even the fact that I'm making this live. Remember that song "Through the Wire" by Kanye West? Well, I don't have a wire, but I do have stitches in, and it's not the easiest to talk, so I'm going to do my best to get through this the best that I can. If I sound like I'm mumbling, that's why. All right, but I'm going to get to this. Hello, princess. So, I'm going to start right here. I'm going to put this list up here. And some of you who are tuned into these topics might have seen this list already, but I'm going to share this. I don't know how well you can see this list. Somebody came up with a list of how many is this? 20. 28 places not to take a woman on a first date. So I found this list rather interesting. I'm going to start by reading through these names on this list. They have Cheesecake Factory, they have Applebee's, they have Chili's, they have Chipotle, they have Olive Garden, they have the movies, your house, any fast food chain, Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, Red Lobster, Buffet, IHOP, Denny's, Gym, church, Starbucks, coffee dates, ice cream dates, family function, movie night, Netflix, Hulu, etc. Somewhere that requires long drive, bowling, nightclubs, hookah bar just for drinks, Waffle House, and sports house. First of all, for this one, I think that 90% of this list is ridiculous. And as a matter of fact, I could make arguments for all of these things being acceptable first dates. Now, are there some things that I would do before I would do others? Yes, but I could make arguments for absolutely 100% of these things being first date items. I feel like Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, Chili's, Chipotle, Olive Garden, they're basically putting those things on there. I think I would say because they're saying those places are too cheap to go on a first date. Is this in response for the video of the chick saying, "Don't take her to the Cheesecake Factory"? I didn't specifically see that one, but it's like this same kind of topic circles around in different ways. It's one of those things that resurfaces. You plug in Cheesecake Factory today, you put in I don't know, what else is comparable to Cheesecake Factory? Like you can't take me to Dave and Buster's, or you can't take me to whatever place. It's all money related at the end of the day, cuz ultimately there's things that I like in Cheesecake Factories. We could hit that Applebee's 2 for 30 or 2 for 20. We could go to Chili's. I mean, I don't, those five things right there, six of one, half a dozen of another. That's all a money thing for me. That's all a money thing for me. The two people were actors, by the way, but I want to ask the questions. Never been. It's not. I don't think there's anything wrong with Cheesecake Factory, Van Hoot. I really think the Cheesecake Factory, like I said, is right along the lines of Applebee's, Chili's, Chipotle. It's basically saying, if you take me to a place that my meal is $30 or $20, then that means that you're not worthy of stepping to me. You're not worthy of a second date if you dare take me to one of those places for a first date. Also, that list does not exclude the car. Personally, I think a first date shouldn't be expensive. See here, so yeah, I want to get into my opinions, but I'm still gonna read these comments. Please hit that like so the math be mathin'. Please do. Even though this is not about Big Brother, you did make the reference, so I am still going to play my Mimi clip from Big Brother if I can find it. What's going on here? Here we go.
What sense does that make? The math is not mathing.
Please hit the math button, the like button to make the math math. I would appreciate that. I've never been to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't even know if the Cheesecake Factory is necessarily. Let me look at it. I've been to the Cheesecake Factory once or twice, but I don't really think it's specifically that it's that cheap. It's just that it's not an expensive restaurant. Just like, I mean, if you look at this, hold on a minute. If you look at this, is well, Chipotle. Chipotle, I guess. I might give you Chipotle, right? I might give you Chipotle. Just because Chipotle is not necessarily a sit down establishment. So I might give you Chipotle, but even that, just like Van Hoot said, I think that to me, the first date is establishing connection. It's not about I gotta impress you and wow you with get taking you to the most expensive place. Like we gotta go see Mariah Carey at the Garden at Christmas time for the first date to make sure that you know that I got the money and I'm willing to do extravagant things. Here's the other part about that, right? You dish out all that wild money on date one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, the woman is happy. And then date six, she's like, you know what? I'm not really feeling you. And then you just dished out all this money on dates one through five. Because going to somewhere that is very up there in price just to impress somebody does not mean that you're connecting with them. They could be connecting with the activity, they could be connecting with that $500 steak on their plate. You know, like that doesn't mean they're connecting with you at all. These girls know what kind of economy we're in. Sorry, I'll wait before my question. Mark, do tell, are you taking someone on? For me, it doesn't depend on the price. And quite frankly, I would say to somebody, let's meet at Starbucks. And if they said to me, oh my goodness, this dude, he doesn't have money because he's taking me to Starbucks on a first date. Like, how dare he think that I'm worthy of sitting in Starbucks with him on a first date? And then bye, because that shows me that I don't need a second date. For me, these getting to know you dates are not about money. They're not about the money that I spend on you. It's about establishing our compatibility. If we enjoy each other's company, we could be in the park, we could be in the coffee shop. You know, we could be at any number of these places. Let me go down this list. The movies. What in the world is wrong with a movie date? I don't understand. Somebody help these make sense to me. I'm lactose intolerant, so the Cheesecake Factory don't work for me. Not a good first date. Also, who the hell goes to church on the first date? That seems like a bit much. They really be connecting with the taste of the food, right? These females in this day and age have the biggest ego. Why am I going all out on some first date? This is what I'm trying to say. So now we have number 7, your house. I still don't understand that. Your house. I still don't understand why that's not okay. I mean, maybe if it's like you're bringing them to your house for the purpose of just hooking up, okay, I can understand that. But just listing that there without any sort of explanation, no, I can make arguments for the house. Fast food chain, I might be able to give you fast food chain if we're talking McDonald's or like Wendy's or something like that. But is that really a date? Really? If you are getting something from a fast food restaurant, I don't know. I wouldn't really consider that a date. Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, um, Red Lobster. I don't see anything wrong with that. The buffet, I wouldn't do the buffet, but not because it's some unacceptable thing, but just because, ooh, I ate it. I did a wings place before and a buffet before and spilled something on my clothes, and it was just uncomfortable. But you don't have to only go to the movies. This could be a date where you start somewhere else. It could be something that you have dinner first. It doesn't have to be just pick them up and go to the movies only, and then the date is done. Maintenance chick knows what's up. Shake Shack is fire, so I don't know. It could pretty much does count as fast food. Let me see. Let's see what else is here. The gym. Listen, there's so many restrictions that people try to place on things. I mean, I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, how is the gym a date?" For me personally, I love exercising, and if I meet somebody who is also into exercising, I had a gym date before. And it was actually unique and it was fun. I mean, that's obviously not for everybody, but as a general list, I think that 80% of this list fails for me. Church, yeah, that's a weird one for me. Like church as a first date. No. Starbucks is on here. I have no problem with Starbucks. Coffee date, same thing as Starbucks, same thing. Ice cream, nothing wrong with that. You know, you're hanging out in the summertime, let's say, and it's nice outside. Hey, let's go to Baskin Robbins. Family functions, yeah, family functions. I might throw away family functions because that one is also a little bit weird. Was the gym date at the gym? Absolutely. And she invited me. She was like, "I know you like to work out at the gym, so you can come to my gym." And actually what she did was she took me through like a yoga routine. And that was one of the most probably unique first dates that I ever had, but it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Oh, I missed what D said. I think a nice walk is absolutely fine and grabbing ice cream. I think that's absolutely fine. I find it a way to learn from somebody. I think that's what's happened a lot in today's society is that people are more focused on the extravagance, the amount of money you spend on it, the pictures that you can take and show the world on social media versus the core things, which is the connection, how well you're compatible with the person. Like those things are just lost on a lot of this era. Church reminds me of dating my ex, and then Anytime we would kiss or anything, she would want to pray after, then keep kissing. I'd be too socially awkward for some family function. For a first date, yeah, that's a rough one. I've been on a date where the person was more. Me too. Matter of fact, the first person I ever dated when I came to New York, we had a community relationship. And by that, I mean, this was the most public person I had ever been with in my life. To the point where I felt like when we were going out, she wasn't going out to enjoy the company with me. She was going out to tell everybody on Facebook and Instagram, wherever else, and show them pictures. Out with my man, out bowling with my guy. We're here eating this and we're here doing that. And we're here at this concert and we're here doing this. There's pictures of everything. And I'm like, well, sheesh. This is for you, me, and the world. Needless to say, I did not like that. I tolerated it, but I did not like that. You know what? I'm going to go through some of these things that I have done. Well, I'm not going to say that I've done any of these, the food ones, these five things of food. I don't necessarily think I've done those specific restaurants as a first date, but I have done comparable restaurants like that, with the exception of Chipotle. Chipotle, I just feel like that one's a little bit too tacky. The movies I've done, house or apartment I've done. Some of these I've done, but not as first dates. So I guess I can't say I've done them as first dates. Gym I did, Starbucks I did, coffee date I did. Hmm. Movie night, I think I've probably done that. Somewhere that requires a long drive, I really don't get that. Because what better way? Wouldn't that be a nice thing for you to go somewhere that's not right around the corner so that on your way to whatever it is, restaurant, activity, that you can spend time getting to know the person in the car? What's wrong with long drives? Especially, what if you go on a long scenic drive? You're watching a sunset or something. I don't know what goes through some people's minds when they make things like that. Where are we at? I've been on. Oh yeah, that's the one I just read. Here you go, MC. Okay, what else do we got here? We have bowling. Again, I don't really see anything wrong with that. We got nightclubs. The nightclubs part, I get that one. I definitely get that. Like, that's not even a date idea. That's not even a date place to me. It's loud in there. There's loud music in there. It's dark in there. I mean, I see that as something that you go to for fun with somebody you're already with versus, oh, I met somebody and I got their number. Let's go to the nightclub. So we can throw that one out. So at least like three or four of these so far on this 28 list, I have agreed with, but the majority still no. Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, an escape room is a good one, MC. I actually, I don't necessarily know if I would call it a date. It was kind of like a date, but I actually did an escape room with somebody before, and it's really cool to do an escape room because it's so much. It's like a mental activity where you get to see how somebody processes things. You see their organization. You see how they manage clues. You see how they are under pressure. I think a escape room is actually a cool date idea, if you ask me. Nightclub is like something after the date. Yeah, I know, right? So we got, what's the last few? Hookah bar. I mean, different strokes for different folks, but not for me. A bar for drinks. I mean, not if it's like we're getting drunk out of our minds type of thing, like that takes away from you getting to know somebody. But if it's just something for like a casual thing, I see it the same sense as I see a coffee shop. If you find a quiet sit down place, I think that could be acceptable and appropriate. Waffle House, come on. I would definitely take somebody to a Waffle House. And sporting events, man, I'm biased, I guess, but I would for sure take somebody to a sporting event. Okay, so that's the first thing. Wow, that already took me 21 minutes. That was the first thing I was gonna say. I think that I had a couple of others. Another one is these videos that circulate. I guess it kind of goes along with this, but those videos that circulate where the woman says, if the guy is not willing to spend at least four figures on the first date, he is not worthy to date me because I am a high value woman. And I'm sitting there and saying to myself, I feel like you're saying you gotta buy me. That's what that sounds like to me. You have to pay to be worthy to be with me. And anybody who feels they have some kind of monetary requirement, this date must cost X amount. Now, I ain't saying they're a gold digger, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you can't have some expectations of somebody valuing you or thinking that you're worth spending money on or thinking that you want them to do something special for you. But I'll use the example of me. When I was in college, I was seeing somebody in college, and college students are broke. College students do not have a lot of money. So if I was like, "Hey, let's go to McDonald's or let's go to let's go to the cafeteria and I'll swipe my CAF card for you," I'd understand if she was like, "Who is this guy?" That's I feel like I'm a more valuable person than that. But for me, I did things that were not expensive because I didn't have the money, but I spent a lot of time preparing things and a lot of time putting them together and kind of customizing them around what she liked. And as far as I know, there was no complaints there. I could do something. Let's say that I'm a millionaire and I'm taking somebody out. I could take you to Peter Luger, which is like an expensive steakhouse. I could take you, I could take you on a yacht party, or I could take you to whatever mansion party that's going on. That's $3,000 a ticket. That doesn't mean that I care about you. And as a matter of fact, I almost feel like it's requesting to be a trophy girl or a trophy wife, where you have the person that is going to spend X amount of money on you to maintain you. I think that this way of thinking is really backwards. That's my personal opinion. Are you trying to give someone a heartache? Am I trying to give somebody a heartache for what? Man, how these people have money. And typically, Van Hoot, I've seen so many cases where a woman, just because this list was about places for a woman to take a man, that's why I'm saying this. I've seen plenty of cases where the woman will sacrifice the thoughtfulness and the attentiveness of the man for the money that the man is willing to spend on them. In other words, they won't take that man who's blue collar, makes whatever, let's just pick a number and say he makes 40, 50,000 a year, blue collar job, works really hard, lives modestly, and can't afford to spend $1,000 a date for them, but will put a lot of time into planning. I can't take you on this $1,000 date, but what I can do is I can put money aside for a month, and that place you really wanted to go, we can find seats somewhere in the back, and then I can create a meal for you, make a meal for you. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more about the thought behind it than it is about the prestige or about the dollar amount of that for you to go back and say, "Oh, my man spent $2,000 on our date." I'll be honest, male or female, someone who comes at you with that kind of list seems like someone who's not really. Yeah, that's exactly what I feel too. It's not exclusive. I mean, I know that I don't really know that I see too many men say that, but I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's men that have their requirements too of what they want from the woman. And that is definitely not somebody, in my opinion, who's interested in building. If you want that person to break the bank for you up front. And I'm going to tell a story about that in a minute, as a matter of fact, too. We need to shift away from overvaluing material goods and valuing the overall actual relationship. I agree. Maintenance was talking about the Waffle House giving heartburn, I think. Have you been to a nice Waffle House? I mean, it might give you heartburn, but have you been to a nice Waffle House in the South? Man, some of those places are nice. I've been to a couple in Atlanta. That would depend on if she was a foodie, though. Give me a nice ribeye instead of taking me out. Here's the other thing too. Some people who will want a man who's a doctor. Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact. The person will provide the house for them to live in. They will provide the standard of living that they want. They can get the outfits they want on his dollar. They can get the vacations, they can get the jewelry, they can get whatever it is, but they don't see him. So it's checking that box, but it's leaving a lot of other boxes unchecked. I'm going to say one stupid suggestion for a date and then go back to not being not as silly. The list doesn't exclude Pound Town. Here's the other thing. If you have a price demand, or this one is not necessarily price, I was just mixing in something else that I've heard before. But I'm assuming that the majority of these, not all, but quite a few of them, are because the place does not give the prestige. Like I said, it's not enough money. So the thing with that, I think that a lot of times if the guy is spending the money, he'll have an expectation because he's considering the money like an investment. Okay, I'm going to take you here, 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 and buy you this, this, and this, and do this, this, and this for you. And this is what I expect from you in return. Kind of Waffle House, SCNC, VA. I'm too old for that food. People aren't satisfied with their own life and are looking for something that can be an easy fix. Money appears on the surface to fulfill that. True, like who even made this list? Okay, there was three things that I wanted to touch on, and this was two of them. There was this list. Oh, I know one of them. There's four things. I just thought of a fourth. There was this list. There was the you must spend $1,000 or more on our first date, or you better not even talk to me. That was the second one, which I addressed. Let me see. A third one, paying for that first date. But who pays for that first date, right? So I had a first date. I don't even know if I would call it a date, but I don't know. Perhaps the other person considered it a date. But I was not the one who asked them. She asked me. She was like, I have this place that I would like for us to meet up at. And we had spoken before. Um, we had maybe even flirted before, but it was not ever, hey, I want to go on a date with you. That was never what was directly said, never directly discussed. This is a date. It was just like, hey, I would like to meet you up at such and such a spot. So we met at the spot. It's not even like it was an expensive spot. It was some kind of Mexican restaurant, and it wasn't. It's along the same lines as some of the things that that are listed on this list. We went to the place, and I ordered my tacos or whatever I ordered, and she ordered her, I don't know, let's say quesadilla. It wasn't a matter for me that I didn't have the money to cover her thing, but it's just that wasn't a date, wasn't directly implicitly called a date. I didn't invite her. So my mind the whole time was I pay half. I mean, not I pay half. I pay what I order, and she pays for whatever she ordered. So the bill comes, I pay my order. As they were like, "Oh, bill together or bill separate?" I said, "Separate, like the bill is separate. Give me my bill for mine and her bill for hers." She was very upset about that. Oh, I ain't never had a guy make me pay for my own meal on a date. And I was like, well, first and foremost, I mean, I didn't really know this was a date, but even if it was, I think that if that's your expectation, those kind of things should be spoken about beforehand instead of just going there and expecting that that's what's going to happen. Now, that's another thing I see circulating all the time. Oh, if he splits it 50-50, he's not a real man. And I'm like, how come in some areas of life we talk about equality and we talk about men and women not being regarded like the boxes for a man and for a woman. um we shouldn't be able to label that the women belong in this category and the men belong in this category, and the women can't do the things the men can do and vice versa. But then in certain things we want to claim the old school. So we're fighting for equal pay, right? And then women are a lot more educated and in the workforce a lot more, because back in my mom's day to an extent, but more so maybe my grandma's day and previously, yeah, a lot of the women were, my goal in life is to get a man and have babies, and take care of him, take care of the kids, and take care of the household. He goes home, he goes out, gets the money, comes home, pays the bills, and gives me some to spend for myself, etc. I know that's going a little deep for that specific thing, but I'm just saying I was a little bit thrown by this person being that upset for having to pay for their half, which was a principal thing because that meal was under $30 um, for that. And then the one last thing I was going to say, let me read this one, but I had one last thing to say. I think people should expect to pay their own meal. It's not a big deal. This way you feel more comfortable, and if it goes further, then you go somewhere nice. She pays or he pays, or vice versa. I agree. I mean, I feel like it's less pressure on both of you in that case because we're talking a first date here. We're talking a first date. So if you come there and you're going to a restaurant that is $500 a plate and the dating partner that you went with is paying for you. I mean, unless we're talking about a millionaire or a multimillionaire going on this date with you, my $500 is hard earned. $500 for me would probably be 3 days and 3 days in the office to make that $500 to go on that date. That's no chump change for me. So I would sit here like if I'm investing all this money into this date, um, I have expectations, and I'd be really pissed if this is a one and done scenario. Not that this place was any $500. I'm just saying, let's go somewhere that is reasonable and see how things go. You get your thing, I get my thing. I think there's nothing wrong with that. You get your thing and I get my thing. But that doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. That's what I'm trying to say too. It's not always going to be that way. Once we've established rapport, once we know that we're going somewhere, leading somewhere, we're connected and we're compatible, I'll be more willing to open up that wallet because it's not about that. It's like what Van Hoot said, we're building. We're building towards something, we're growing. So I don't feel like I'm just throwing money at the well for no reason just to get you for another date. I feel like you're invested in me just like I'm invested in you. So I can say, let's go to this and this place that is a treat for you because I know that you're not here to just bleed my pockets dry and leave, which has happened to me in the past, which is the reason why I think the way that I think now. Yeah, for real. And that was the last thing that I wanted to get to. This is my closing one. The thing that's been circulating around on social media about if you are married to a man or you live with a man and you pay any bills, you're not with a man. What in the world? Let me tell you something about my mom and dad. My dad was a certified public accountant. My mother, before she retired 2 years ago, was a registered nurse. They lived all across the globe. They lived several years in Africa. They lived in Canada. They lived in multiple different places in Canada. My dad lived in North Carolina. We lived in Massachusetts, New York City. Um, there's other places in between or before me. Chicago, Michigan. There were times. Oh, let me see this. I feel like you're starting a precedent that is not good. Yeah, I know, right? For the thousand at the beginning, gotta go. Thanks for your input, MC. Also, your story of someone saying, "Meet me at this place. You pay for my meal," right? I feel like that kind of thing sort of make things exactly transactional. Yeah. So what I was saying is they were together for, oh, I don't want to get this wrong, but it has to be either I think it was 44 years. I think it would have been 44 years of marriage if he lived through if he had lived through June. I think that was their wedding anniversary. So 43, almost 44 years. And there was times during their marriage where my mom was the only one working. There was times where my dad was the only one working. There was times where he paid he made more money than she did and he paid more than half of the bills than she did. There was times when she made more money than he did and she paid more than half of the bills. But there was no time that I would say he wasn't a man because she paid any bills. Like I'm not I'm flabbergasted by some of the things that I see. And I say to myself, is this a Gen Z thing? But then again, a lot of it is not Gen Z. A lot of these people that I see saying this stuff on the internet or radio talk shows, people in their 40s, 50s. They're like, I'm a grown professional and I make six figures, this blah blah blah. So the only way that I need a man is if he makes more than that, and when I get with him, I don't have to pay anything. And like Van Hoot said, I find that to be really shallow and really transactional, to where you have all these other requirements. You're not talking about loyalty. You're not talking about somebody being romantic, somebody who's paying attention to you. You're not talking about somebody who makes you laugh. You're not talking about intrinsic values. You're not talking about somebody who values and takes care of their family. You know, like those things are not. There's no list that has those things on there. And if there is, those lists are not going viral. But a list like this kind of list is going viral. My dad was a medical. See, it's all relative to your situation. You don't go into a partnership like, if I ever have to pay or if I am the primary person that pays the bills, that means the other person is less of a person. It's whatever happens to work, a mutually agreed upon thing between the two of you that happens to work for your unique situation. And usually, the people who are saying this stuff, if you said, "What's going on in your relationship?" "Oh, well, I don't have one because I'm just waiting for the person that meets all these standards." And you're like, "Oh, so you're single?" "Yeah, but I refuse to settle." "All right." "Okay, I see." People are not realistic. Also, it dunks on ton of middle class individuals because people don't understand the economy we live in. Most men and women are not making six figures. That's the honest truth. And trust me, I've learned. I work hard for a living, but I'm not in those brackets that they're talking about. So if somebody wanted to disqualify me from talking to them or having even a first date with them for that, the answer that I would have for that is thank you. Because I'll tell you one thing, I was with a gold digger. It was a while ago now, maybe 2014, 2015. I was with a gold digger. And this person was like, you are the brokest person I ever been with. I need this from you. And I was breaking the bank for that person, taking them to nice restaurants that they would request, buying them certain things that they would request that were expensive. Um, Helping with so many different things. It was just a lot of things that I were not only against the grain of what I wanted to do, but also, sorry, that fire alarm. Waiting a second for it to stop beeping. Okay, that was against the grain of what I wanted to do, but also I didn't have the money to do those things. Really, I was putting the stuff on credit cards. I was spending money that I didn't have to maintain this image of what she wanted from me. And after a certain amount of time of investment with this person, she was like, you don't have enough of what I need. So I'm kicking you to the curb. And I was like, but wait, I did everything that you asked me to do. You said, I need this purse. I got the purse. You said, I need this outfit. I got the outfit. I need to go to this Beyonce concert. Bang, we going to the Beyonce concert. I need you to spend this much money to take me to this fancy restaurant for dinner. We go to the dinner. We do this. We do that. And then at the end, it's like, you're not good enough and you don't have enough because you're never going to have enough for that person who requires those things up front. Period. You start off with that as a foundation, like Van Hoot said. They want more. You give them more, and then they want some more. You give them more, and you want some more. And the other thing is, they're not going to be loyal to you because there's always going to be somebody out there that has more and offers them more, and they're going to go to the highest bidder. And that's that. So I don't know what y'all thought of my topic here, but I am going to try. I know that on this channel, I know that it's a much slower build than talking about a niche topic or a pre-made topic like reality TV. But last off season, a Big Brother off season taught me that you have to be more than a one trick pony. You have to be willing to talk about other things. And I think that if you build it, they will come. So I think that if I continue to do this consistently with different topics, people will start to join me to talk about those topics, and I'm going to be working on it. The audience that I have on here is mostly not on here for that, but I can build a new audience. That's what I believe. Oh man, Mark, no, you didn't. For a second, I thought the fire alarm was in my house. You shouldn't have more money on your body and in your garage than you do in your bank account. True. I know this one person who's dating someone that told them straight up, you can't afford me. I've heard that one before. Well, I haven't heard it from somebody I was dating. I heard it from somebody I wanted to date. So, but essentially, that's what that lady told me when she broke up with me. Not in those exact words, but same type of deal. The person went from making 250K to now living on the edge because they're spending everything that they have. Yeah, my numbers were much less in terms of what I was making, but in terms of me spending to my threshold to make the other person happy, done that. Been there, done that. Hey, Cass. Been there and done that, unfortunately, but every lesson is a learning situation. So I learned from it, and it's not something that I'd be willing to do again. I'm more willing for them to walk away and say this person ain't nothing and they ain't worth nothing versus somebody who thinks I'm worth the amount of money that I'm spending on them. And I mean what I mean by that is their worth is connected to a dollar figure that I'm spending towards them. And if that's the main thing that they're seeking and that's their upfront requirement, then hey, you can think whatever you want about me and walk away. You didn't waste your time and I didn't waste my time. So anyways, that's my topic. As some people say, that's my time. I so appreciate y'all for joining me here, and I hope everyone has an amazing evening. I don't know if I'm going to be on here again today. I might, because I thought that this was going to be a little harder for me, but the pain pills are serving me right now. I'm almost at my time for my next dose. But it actually, so far at least, has not been as painful once I take the pills. It was really painful earlier. This big tooth that they took out, which I posted on my other channel, but getting through it. I'm getting through it. It was at least, I was glad I took the work day off because I would not have wanted to work today. And I hope everyone has a great evening and we're going to talk soon.